Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Well, we've been eating very healthy the last really many weeks, and or at least I think we are. And so tonight I decided I'm going to fix some crepes. And these aren't really going to be the kind of crepes you put filling in and roll up. They're going to have butter and syrup on them. And I'll just have to tell you about a time when we were really touring up in New England. We wanted to see all the sights up there, and I think we were gone probably over 3 weeks, and looking at all the historical sites. But one of the most memorable for me was in Taunton, Massachusetts, and there is where we went. We got prime rib at a restaurant called the Jockey Club, and it was just kind of right across the street from the motel where we were staying, and it was quite delicious. But down the road, when you went out the motel, you turned right, you went to the Jockey Club. If you turned left, you went to this family restaurant I think that maybe someone at the motel told us about, and it was sort of on the lines of a family restaurant and a truck stop kind of combination thing. But anyway, when we went in and we looked at the menu, and they had crepes on the menu, so I thought, I'm going to have some crepes tonight. Of course, Mr. Bucky ordered something different, but I had to have the crepes, and to my surprise, they came out on this big platter of a plate, and there were 2 of them. They were really big. They had to have fixed them on the grill because they were long and sort of shaped like the plate, and then all wrinkled up in there, and tons of real butter and real maple syrup. They were so good. So while we were looking at all the sights, and you know how it is when you travel, you have to try to figure out where to eat. And most of the time, if you go to a real touristy place, the food isn't really that good. So we try to ask the locals as much as we can where they eat, because they know the best restaurants, And so anyway, we ended up going back to this restaurant at my insistence 2 more times. So I had crepes 2 more times, so 3 times while we were visiting there. And the waitress was also telling us about some of the places around there, and she told us about Provincetown, and she called it P-Town. So I guess if some of y'all are from up there, you know where I'm talking about. But anyway, from there we went on to Cape Cod and watched. They were moving the lighthouse because the waves were kind of breaking up on it and kind of washing it away. So this was this big, massive lighthouse they were moving. So, but I remember the restaurant better than anything because it was so good. So anyway, tonight we're going to make crepes. Now, it's really simple to make crepes. It's just nothing complicated at all about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just use 2 large eggs. I'm just going to break them into the bowl. And we want to give those a good, just beat them really good with a whisk. And you really, it would be better if your eggs are sort of at room temperature. All right, let me move y'all closer. There. Sorry. All right, there we go. All right, now to this, I'm going to add 1½ cups of half and half, just because I like mine really rich. So that's 1½ cups of half and half. Just beat that. Now I've got some butter melted here because I'm going to add syrup to this butter later on, and that's what we're going to pour over the crepes. But right now we need 2 tablespoons of the butter. And I melted it and then let it cool. Okay, just a touch more. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just a 1/2 teaspoon is all you need. Right in there. All right. Now we're just going to beat that up together with the butter. And now we're going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Now this flour was sifted, then it was measured, so we don't have to worry about lumps. And we're just going to whisk that in. It's going to make a very, very thin batter, which is exactly what we're looking for crepes. And you could use your electric mixer in this if you wanted to. Now we're going to set this aside and just let it sit out really on the counter for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll be back. Alright, we're ready to start cooking our crepes. It's been about 15 minutes. We'll put a little scant bit of butter in each of my non-stick pans, just a very small amount, and I'm going to rub it all around. You want it just barely sizzling. Rub it up the sides too. I've got my pans on medium heat. Alright, we're just going to use a little 1/4 cup measure to put the batter in the pans, and I'm not even going to fill it all the way full. Alright. As soon as we put it in, I'm going to have to pick up the pan and move it around. So put it right in the middle. And if it doesn't get everywhere, I just kind of smooth it in and actually fill it in. Just a little bit of batter. That ought to do it. Alright, now we're going to do the next one. Alright, it doesn't take long to get the hang of this. And we're going to just break it loose from the sides. And I just used this little, it's actually a little Martha Stewart spatula. It's really well used, as you can see. I'm just going to dip it in a little tiny bit of the melted butter over here. Kind of break the crepe loose from the sides. It cook just a little longer. Now we're ready to break this one loose from the sides. Just gently going around it. And I do like my crepe a little bit brown. So let's see. I need to wait a little longer. Until it starts looking really dry on top. Then we'll know it's time to flip it over. You just want to make sure that it's loose from the sides. Again, I've got my heat on medium. Alright, let's see if we can flip this one over now. I like to take it with my hands. There we go. See if this one's ready. Nope, that one needs a little longer. See, just got the faintest little, I'll lift it up so you can see, faintest little bit of brown on there. And it doesn't take us long on this second side. Now let's see if this one's ready. Nope. Yeah, you do burn your fingers a little bit, but you see how thin this batter is? It's really very, very thin. Alright, the second one is probably ready to be flipped now. Make sure y'all can see that. Yep. And as I'm cooking these, I'm just going to pile them up on a plate I've got sitting right over here. And then just before we're ready to eat, or really after I finish cooking all the crepes, I'm going to put that in the oven for, on low for maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes just to rewarm them. All right, this one's ready. There's what it looks like. And you can just pile them right on top of each other. Now what I'm going to do is actually flip this one to this pan, because this one's actually got a bigger burner on it. And we're ready to start the process all over again. So we'll put just a teeny bit of butter in the pan again. Just a little bit. Take my little paper towel and wash it around there a little bit. And I'm also do this pan. All right, we're ready. They're hot. Just flip them out right on top of each other. All right, we need a little bit more butter in this pan. We'll do one more while we're watching. And we'll turn this burner down just a touch, because this is a bigger burner. All right, we're ready. Get right at 1/4 of a cup, dump it in, and immediately swirl it all around. All right, now we're ready to do this one. Just make sure it's loose from the sides. See how it bubbles up a little bit? And it'll start looking dry. Just about ready, needs a touch more. And we'll switch burners again, because see how this is a much bigger burner here. And we'll go ahead and flip this one. I need to let it just sit just a little bit longer. And of course you can stuff crepes with all kinds of stuff, but this time I'm just going to make mine, with syrup on them and lots of butter. All right, that one's ready to flip. Just take a hold of it. It's hot. Ooh. There really isn't any way I know to do it other than using my hands. It just works out a lot better. There we go. And let it cook a shorter length of time on the second side. And they smell like really delicious pancakes. Getting a little brown. I'm going to switch my burners back again. Check this one. Yep. Just a few more seconds and that ought to be done. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I did put a couple of dashes of salt in the batter for the crepes. I don't think I mentioned that before. Okay, this one back here is ready. I'm just going to take that out. And this one is ready. All right, we're ready to put our next batter in. And again, I'm going to use a little teeny touch of butter. I mean, just a tiny little flake of butter. I'm going to have to turn this one down because that's sizzling a little too much. All right, one more time. And you can let it go up the sides if you want to. again. And the main reason I'm doing that is because this burner is much bigger than the back burner. I wish I had two big burners, but I don't, so. Just make sure it's not stuck on the edge anywhere, or at least that's the way I do it, just to make sure. And of course, with the invention of the non-stick pans, it made making crepes many, many times easier. So I remember making them in a stainless steel pan, and sometimes you wouldn't be able to get them up, you know? All right, this one's ready to be flipped. Whoops. There we go. Put it back to the back burner. And this one's ready to be flipped. There's what they should look like. All right, when I get the rest of these done, which will take about 2 more times on here, we'll be back and I'll show you how I serve these. Okay, this recipe makes 10 crepes that are about 8 inches, 8.5 inches, and you definitely want to make them in a non-stick pan. Not that you can't make them in a stainless steel pan, but it's much harder. All right, I want to show you how I serve these. I've had them in the oven, and I just crinkle them up. They're very hot. On the plate like that. Oh, very, very hot. Oh, picked up 2 that time. Over there. There we go. Yeah, you want them very hot when you're serving them like this. Boy. Somewhat 4 on each plate. I have to do something different because they're extremely hot. Alright, so we got 4. Let me go ahead and do 5. Because I know we'll eat them. Alright, there they are, all crinkled up. And now, let me get my syrup and butter. So I just mix my syrup and my butter together, put them in the microwave and get them up really piping hot. And then I just use a little gravy ladle and mix them up as I dip it over the crepes, just like that. And this is exactly how we had them in Taunton, or how I had them. I don't recall Mr. Bucky getting them, but I sure did. There you have it. Don't they look just wonderful? And I can tell you they are. All right. I'm going to taste one. Back up. Here we go. Got to taste one. They're very, very hot. All right, here goes. They are wonderfully good. Oh. You gotta use butter. You have to use butter, okay? You really do. All right, we're ready to eat, and I'll see you next time. I wanted to give you a close-up. I mean, they are just wonderful, okay? There's a light. Look at that. Lots of butter and lots of syrup. Now, we ran out of the pure maple syrup, so I ended up using the log cabin, of course mixed with butter. You know, it's really, really good. All right, now for sure we'll see y'all next time.